Hi, and welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome to A Cup of Joe and a Show. This is episode 6. I am here with Jared Walker.
Why'd you look at me but say Jared's name?
Do you have the same problem that Brad Pitt has, where he has trouble remembering faces to names?
No.
I see.
And also Nick Shirk.
Hello. This is a very strange intro. I wish we had video right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like we say that once every couple episodes of you. One day.
Yeah.
One day.
Foreshadowing.
Anyways, what are we going to talk about?
But we're here to do a review on the movie The Fabelmans. Came out in 2022, or last year. So, initial thoughts on the video movie.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm gonna give it. We're gonna do a 1 out of 10. We're gonna do a scale of 1 to 10 is what I meant to say. I just want to point out I'm the only one drinking coffee.
Yeah, Kenny's not drinking anything, and I've got a Chick-fil-A cookies and cream shake and a pop from the movie theater. Lime Coke.
Disgusting.
Lime Coke. So
This
many
is
questions.
the best Coke.
Not for this podcast. Nick, what is your what's your rating 1 out of 10 here?
So honestly, I went into this movie not expecting a lot. Like, Jared wanted to see it. I was like, okay, I'll go see it. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it that much, but I'll keep an open mind. Honestly, loved the film. I thought it was fabulous. It had a lot of just, I don't know, and I think Jared's going to say the same thing, but it had a lot more emotion than I ever thought it had. I mean, even we watched the trailer yesterday, just kind of get or 2 days ago, to just kind of like get a brief overview of the movie. And even from the trailer, like, it felt like, oh, it's going to be like dramatic. I did not expect to actually like not relate to characters, but actually care enough about them to like be like, oh wow, I'm kind of invested in that now. Like, I feel like I'm actually somewhat like I have a stake in this film. So, excuse me, in that sense, thoroughly enjoyed the film. Thought it was amazing. I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll say an 8. I actually rank it pretty high. I don't know. The problem is I don't know the rewatchability of it. Like, I don't know if I'd watch it again, and I can't say that I would fully recommend people to watch it. If you are a fan of Spielberg, which I think a couple of us in the room are, there's only 3 of us, so if you're a fan of Spielberg, I say watch it. If you're not, and you want kind of like a really weird family drama, watch it. Besides that, don't watch it. Like,
It's definitely one of those movies that either you love it and you really love it, or you're just bored by it and you're really bored. You can't be in the middle. It's kind of like one or the other.
yeah. And because, like I said, because I'm a Spielberg fan, I appreciated knowing that it's not declared a biopic, but it's basically a biopic.
It's a fictional biopic.
Right. And I mean, it takes new names and obviously probably names and all that stuff. But anyways, it's, from what I understand, they did an interview with Spielberg, and he said that this movie is like very accurate to his life and how he grew up and stuff. So that was really cool, and I appreciated a lot of the cinematography in the movie. I thought that was really well done. But just brief overview. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. 8 out of 10. Rewatchability is where I rank it an 8 at, because I just don't know if it can go higher. But it was a good film.
Gotcha. Jared?
Yeah, this film had a lot of weight to it. It really wore its heart on its sleeve, and from what I know about Spielberg, that's how he is. He just he'll tell you how it is, and he has a lot of emotional attachment to a lot of things. That's why he's been so successful and so dedicated to his craft for like almost 50 years.
He's old.
Yeah, well, he's 76, and in this movie, it shows that he was even creating things when he was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm. It's wholesome. It's just so wholesome to watch him grow up, to watch him face adversity, to power through it, and then to know that in the end it all works out for him because he is Steven Spielberg. Right?
Yeah. E.T., Indiana Jones, Jaws,
Mm-hmm.
crazy, probably one of the, if not the most highly profitable director of all time with all of his movies. I might be wrong on that, but seeing all the box office reports for all of his names, like it's probably up there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. So what's your 1 out of 10?
Well, my 1 out of 10.
You're 1 to 10. I don't know why I keep saying it like that.
I would give it a 7.5 to an 8. Kind of depends. My biggest gripe with it, because I feel the same way you do about it, how good it is, and the rewatchability might be a little issue. I would recommend it to people that I know like Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I mean, that's exactly what I thought.
Like my father, he would love it.
Mm-hmm.
One of our friends from work, he would love it. But there was some parts where I was kind of tuned out. Especially with the portrayal of the mother. There were scenes where I didn't think she was doing that great of a job acting. And it seemed like she was really like playing two different characters.
Mm. Without going too far, because I think we'll touch on all that later because I have comments on it too. It felt very awkward.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's what Spielberg wanted her to do. I have no idea.
But it never felt awkward with anybody else. So I wondered if it was a directorial decision.
It could have been. I mean, that could have been his mom. I mean, that
it could have been
supposed to be his mom, right? So maybe that's just how his mom was, and if that's how it is, then.
And I know Michelle Williams. She's a great actress. She played recently. She played the wife in The Greatest Showman.
Oh, okay.
So she definitely has that drama,
right?
Even though The Greatest Showman is more of a theatrical thing, but she did a good job in that. So I wonder if it was a directorial decision or not.
I would have to assume, especially if you say she's like, I don't really know her from much, but I know I've seen The Greatest Showman. Anyways, Kenny, brief overview. Just what's your thoughts? Your 1 to 10.
So I'm probably gonna be the highest ranker.
Okay.
Here of the movie, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just because I went in, I think you and I kind of went in like maybe not really liking the movie that much.
Yeah,
like the idea, like it didn't strike you as something that you needed to see was must watch.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And then, like it got not even like half hour in, I was already hooked, and it was like
it was right after he saw that movie in the first like 5 minutes when the train crash. I was already like, oh wow, this is something different. This isn't like just a normal. We're telling you a story by the numbers. This is like something different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you can tell, like, well, we'll get into that later.
There you go.
Then we'll go into that.
Pull it back in. Rain.
But yeah, I think we all agree. I think we're all going to be in agreement that it's really not one we're going to go back and watch again, most likely. Mm-hmm. And it's not one I'm going to be downloading on Prime or anything like that to rewatch it either. So
it also was very long at 2.5 hours.
It was,
but the pacing went pretty fast.
It did feel long at some spots.
I will
admit it did. There were a few times where I was like, "This has been going on for quite a while."
Right.
But it also redeemed itself after those spots, so it was okay. Anyways, back to you. It's your time to talk, not mine. So you do your thing.
No, I think I said all that I want to say at the moment because I'm just giving a brief rating.
Yeah. Okay.
Your 1 out of 10.
My 1 out of 10 is 8.5.
Nice. It's a solid rating. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. And with that, first segment's over. We're gonna transition right into plot overview, just to give everyone kind of a example of what we're working with, and then we'll do some deeper dive stuff. I think we all have things we want to talk about from the movie. Yeah, Jared, you've been elected as plot overviewer.
I like it.
Is that a word? I'm gonna keep it. Anyways.
Yeah.
We'll help you along, but you let them know what the plot was.
Just chime in whenever you want to. So the movie starts in, I believe it was 1952, and Sam Fabelman and his family are going to see a movie at a theater. I don't know if it was a real movie or not. It kind of seemed like it might have been, but I'm not sure. So they see this, and then he's scared because there was a train crash, and it was, for 1952, it seemed very... It would traumatize a kid pretty bad.
Mm.
So for Hanukkah, he gets a train, and then he takes his dad's camera and records the train crashing to recreate the scene so he can kind of get over his fear. And from there, he finds a love of film and movies, and throughout the whole rest of the movie, he's basically just making a movie seems like every couple months for his Boy Scout tribe. And then it just moves on into like more, halfway through it kind of loses the dedicated to filmness because his father kind of tells him it's just a hobby, you need to do something real with your life. And there's a lot of drama with his mother and a friend of the family
Who's considered an uncle, and
Yes.
also a best friend of the dad, which
throws a wrench in things when you find out that the mom and him are sleeping together or want to and have. I don't know if it was ever explicitly stated like that they had done it before. They had actually
she
slept
said
together.
that it had never gone that far.
Okay, then
So I'm assuming
she wanted it then, and
Probably.
she felt like it was probably a better fit for her. And at the end of the movie, it shows that that is a better fit for her because she seems to have a lot of mental issues. Throughout the film, she goes in and out of being very close to her family and very distant. And there was a weird part where her mom died, and then like she was hearing her mom's voice on the phone, and her mom's brother showed up out of nowhere, and she didn't know who he was, or
Yeah.
it just seemed very like out of place. But
it's a bit of a I wouldn't even say sporadic. It's just you have to pay attention to the film.
Yeah.
Not that you weren't, but it's just like you have to pay attention to it in the sense that there's always something new going on.
it's not mindless.
development-wise. There's nothing mindless. Like I think when Spielberg and I don't know who the other writer was, but when they wrote this and they filmed it, there was very much an intention. Every scene was intentional in something, and because I mean. Movies have filler scenes. That's just kind of how it is. You have to set stuff up. But it felt like every scene in this film almost was like, I didn't even feel like there was a filler scene for a lot of it. It was just very guided, and you were just very much you were along for the ride while Spielberg told the story, right?
And if it really is like almost 100% his story, then what he's telling you is his most important moments. So it makes sense that there wouldn't be any filler because it's all important to him.
Yeah.
Let's say if Christopher Nolan did a Spielberg movie, you'd lose some of the more everyday life stuff because to him that's not important, but to Spielberg himself, it's the most important part of his life.
Yeah. Well, and the film does a great job of highlighting the key parts. Like, I mean, I think you left this part out, but there's a spot where they go camping. The movie ages the kid very not fast, but you don't spend a lot of time with a young kid.
No, you lose that in about the hour mark. You hit where he's going to be for the rest of the movie, because this movie, spoiler, doesn't end with him becoming a movie director.
Right.
Like you know him with his first film, Duel, in I think it was 1973. I think maybe
I don't know.
I might be wrong, but his first theatrical film, Duel, and this movie ends I think in 1965. So
He leaves. It's not. I mean, it's
so
not.
it doesn't really show his success yet, because you know his success.
Right. I was gonna say, and I think it was probably very intentional in that. But for the plot overview, I mean, there's really not much. The mom goes through a lot of just like
Mental gymnastics, I feel.
I
Is
wouldn't
is
even
a
say
word?
that. It's just this like longing to have something else because she left something behind. It's that
Oh,
idea
100%.
of she married this man who's played by Paul Dano. Spielberg's dad is played by Paul Dano, and she is like madly in love with him, but she's also in love with his friend, and it's just a very just the mental state of the mom is always in question throughout the film, and I think it's intentional. Like,
because she doesn't want to throw away her family with her kids, because, as in the film, when she finally comes clean to her husband about her desires, and they decide to get a divorce, the daughters freak out. They're not understanding. They're blaming her for all of it, and that's probably what she didn't say it because she wanted to keep the family. And one of the lines is, I don't want to spend, the daughter says, I don't want to split time between you and Dad. We can't live like that. We just can't. And as a parent, she probably understood that she didn't want her kids to go through that until it came to the boiling point where she had to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for a plot overview, you kind of hit all the main stuff. I feel like I don't really think you missed. I mean, there may be scenes, but for a plot overview, it's fine. Anyways, specifics. What does everyone want to go with specific? I can start. Yeah, Paul Dano, I think, delivers a very impressive performance as Spielberg's dad. And I don't know how accurate this is to Spielberg's dad. I feel as if it probably has to be somewhat accurate.
And only Spielberg will even know.
Right. And the thing is he plays this. The dad is very, very, very intelligent, and his mom is very artistic in music and dance and all this stuff. And it's just like they work together, but they don't mesh together. And that's the idea. I think that he's really trying to get over, and throughout the whole film, is that things can work together, but they're not like they can fit, but they're not going to work in that spot. And I think he's conveying that idea through the parents, through the mom and her, and Billy, I think is his name. Benny, there you go. Which is her lover. And the thing is they don't really work well together either, because she has to leave something behind, right? Like, she can't just go off and have this magical moment. And she even calls herself, she says, this is the most selfish thing I've ever done in my life. It is leave my family and go be with this man that I know will make me happy, but I have a family here that makes me happy too. It's just like this constant fight between whether she should seek to be happy or seek to, I guess, please others, in the sense of
better herself or be better for others.
Right. And in that sense, I didn't relate to it. I can kind of understand that, I guess, from some experiences I've had in my life, I think. But I think Paul Dano gives this really impressive performance where he's a very likable father, but he's not a likable husband. And the other thing is, I don't know if he's given a lot of chances to be a likable husband, because she spends a majority of her time with Benny, because Benny seems to be there all the time. So you never really get to see how Mitzi is her name, how Mitzi and Paul Dano's character, who I'm totally blanking. Bert, there you go. Mitzi and Bert, how they like work together outside of, like, there's a few scenes in like the very beginning where they're like laying in bed together and just like going to sleep. But the dialogue is more focused on the kids, and it's not even focused on anything to do with them.
I think that's more based on it's coming from Spielberg's perspective.
And yeah, that's fair.
And he wouldn't know all these other things that go on.
Yeah, and that's fair.
And she says later in the film to Sam Spielberg, that she doesn't want to fight with the husband. She can't do it. She doesn't have the fight in her. That's why she hasn't told him. That's why she doesn't go against what she knows is right.
Even at that, she said she still loves him. It's
not
that she fell never out of love with him. Like, she still loves him, which the film gives very conflicting themes on that idea of love, because she's like she's being selfish, right? Like, she claims she's being selfish, and she goes off and does the selfish thing and leaves her family behind. But then she's like, but I still love this person. And it's like, there's a lot more, I feel as if, going on in your heart, because she chooses happiness over responsibility, right? Like, that's the idea, is like, you should be happy in whatever. And she tells Sam that in the film, like, do what your heart feels. And that's that's another topic. But anyways, it's a very powerful film in the sense that it's very motivating, because you see all these trials and tribulations, and you see how well it worked out. And I actually appreciated that they cut it off where it did, because I think everyone, we were the only 3 people in the film, so everyone in the theater was very caught off guard when it ended where it did, because it was just like, oh, this like moment where we finally have Spielberg. He's got a chance at doing stuff for
And he meets
CBS.
a director.
He meets a really famous director, and he does all this stuff, and then it's just like,
That's it.
done. That's the film. And it was just wholesome because, like you said, we know the story after that. He was just telling the story that nobody knew.
Yeah.
And after that, he goes into the rest of the story. So that was my thing. I also love the cinematography work on the film. I thought it was fabulous, but I expect nothing less from a Spielberg film. So
Yeah.
it was just very well done. Even even the cinematography in the movies that he made was just stellar, and it was actually just very inspiring as someone who's somewhat done a little bit of work on film to look at and just be like, that's how they did that, and that's how they're doing that, and that's the angle. And it's just cool to kind of see it from that perspective and see it from the eyes of someone who has very much more success than I ever will in that industry. So,
well, you only measure success by how much you want it.
That's true, and I don't really need it all that much. But yeah, it's cool to see how he, I guess, got started, in my opinion.
I kind of related to Spielberg in this movie on a level because throughout the film, his dad tells him, well, it's just a hobby. You need to do something real. You need to do something real. And in my personal life, I got knocked down a lot by my family by what they would say about, oh, you need to find a real job or something that'll pay the bills. When I would tell them, because I do want to create movies like they do in the movie. And for a long time, I felt like I couldn't tell anybody about what I wanted to do because I felt like I would get knocked down the way that the dad speaks to his son. So for a good chunk of the movie, he says he's done with films because he's not pleasing what his dad wants. And it was a very, very personal message to me, and it really hit me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even when he stops making the film, he transitions into that like weird high school.
Yeah.
Spielberg that no one ever really knew, but it's cool that we now kind of know what he was somewhat like in high school. So that was
hitting you with the one-liners sometimes.
He was, yeah, he definitely was. But I don't know, the high school Spielberg was interesting. I appreciated the very end. It kind of goes throughout his childhood, and then it spends a lot of time his high school years. There's a majority of the film.
Probably like 13 to 18.
Yeah,
those 5 years.
In there. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe 20. I'd say max.
Maybe at the end.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. The when he ages out of that bracket, and we kind of see the end where he's in college and he's spending time he's living with his dad, not his mom, and he's just doing all this stuff in LA and traveling back and forth to school, and you just see him like completely just like broken down. And it was interesting because Paul Dano cares for him exactly how he cared for the mom.
Yes, because he says he comes in and has like a panic attack, and his dad comes in and he's like, "Well, I think I have a heart attack. I'm thinking I'm dying," and he listens to his heart and he says, "No, you're having a panic attack. Drink some tea. Same thing happens to your mother all the time."
And he like knows exactly what to do for it. You know,
and it's done in like 2 seconds, and he's calm, and they're having a really much needed heart to heart.
Yeah, and the very end of the film was basically him being like, "Dad, like I can't go to college. I hate school. I hate this. I cannot do it." And it's his dad who's this very by the book, like you do. He's an engineer, scientist of some sort.
For IBM, I believe, at the end.
Yeah, so he's like doing mega hardcore tech work, right? And his son is like doing movies. And there's like, back then there was a huge difference. Now that kind of very much intersects. But, and he's doing all this work like technologically, and he's like, good with math and all this stuff. And his son's just the exact opposite of him. And which is really cool because I feel as if his redemption in the end with his kid is how he wanted to redeem his marriage.
Yes.
And he never got the chance to because he just couldn't. Like, I mean, just where his wife was at now.
And then not to any fault of his own.
No. And
he thought he was doing the best, and to the audience, it seemed like he was really trying as a husband. Like, there was no point where I thought, oh, you're a jerk. She's better off without you. No. Yeah. He always... She says later, whenever I feel like I have to fight with him, I always end up saying, oh, we have this problem. Oh, can you change the antenna so I can watch a new channel on TV? And he does it. and she feels like she can't leave because there's no fight. There is no like.
Well, yeah, exactly.
There is no aggressiveness.
Mhm.
No reason for her to give the excuse to leave, because he is so in love with her. Even at the end, they send the wife and the daughters send pictures from a block party they have in Arizona, and they're looking through the pictures and they're smiling, and then they get to a picture of the best friend and the wife. Now they're together, and the dad kind of breaks down a little bit, but then has that final like, no, I'm going to be stronger than this. I got to.
Well, it's the realization that he will lose his son the same way he lost his wife if he pushes him to be exactly like he is, right? Because earlier on in the film, we missed this part where they're having this dinner party. Well, not even a dinner. I think they're just having lunch or dinner with the family.
In the very beginning?
No. In the middle spot, and it's with his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I see.
He picks up a girlfriend in high school. She's the comic relief of the movie, and it's absolutely hilarious. Like, we looked up who played her. She's from Liv and Maddie. I remember that.
But I've seen that show, and I don't remember her.
I don't know.
Unless she was a side character.
It is not important. But anyway, she is hilarious in this film. She's absolutely the comic relief. But they're having dinner, and the mom tells this girlfriend of Spielberg's that in this family there's two sides. There's the like math side, the artsy side, the academic side, and then there's the math academic side, and there's the arts side, and her son takes after her.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment you realize that the mom and the son are the same character, but the dad, in going back to what we were talking about before, in the ending, the dad realizes he has that chance to actually keep his son around because he lost his wife already. He can't
control the situation the way he did the rest of the movie.
Right.
He controlled the situation because he was the math guy. He
Right.
was the engineer. He had all of the information in his head, all the know-how, all the knowledge, so he could take control. You see it all throughout the film when they're camping. He's the one that can light the fire immediately. He's the one that brings home all the stuff and fixes it. He's the one that brings in the money. I don't think the mom ever even has a job.
No, I don't think so.
Other than being a really amazing piano player, and she just never goes anywhere with it because I don't think she feels like she is good enough.
I think from what I gathered, I think she feels that she can't.
Even though she's amazing.
That's where I think we get this dichotomy where the wife and the husband break apart because the wife feels as if the husband, Paul Dano, is holding her back from her dreams, when in fact I don't think Paul Dano was like that. I think
he was oblivious to the idea because he thought he was doing the right thing.
Right. Well, I don't even think that. I think he loved his wife so much that he would have supported her in anything. I think that's clearly shown throughout a good chunk of the film.
Oh, there's definitely the part with the fingernail clipping when the Benny character says, you hear that sound when she plays on her nails, and he says, sometimes, but I don't really care. Yeah, like I think he cares. Well, and okay, if we're actually going to talk about this, then you have to get to the quote from the one daughter. I don't know any of Spielberg's sisters' names, so I don't know. I don't know. They say them very many times. Yeah, but anyways, the one sister says, and Spielberg's character Sammy says this too to the sister, that Dad worships Mom. I mean, that's just what he does. He worships Mom. He loves her that much. And the sister makes up a very compelling argument in the sense that she's like, well, what do you think it's like to be worshipped by someone? What do you think it's like to live with someone who is 10 times smarter than you? And yeah, they never make you feel like that, but in the back of your mind, you never don't feel like that. And it's a self-conscious thought. Right. And it's a very powerful message in the sense that, like, humans are not meant to be worshipped. Like, that's a rabbit hole that you just cannot go down. It's also a like, I don't know the exact word for it, but there's probably people out there that worship Spielberg for his films the way that they're portraying in the movie. It's kind of a... Oh, like you're saying, like, this is how he's trying to make them... Like, how do you think it feels to have someone worship you? But now, as he makes this film, there are people that worship him like that. Maybe not, like, loving in his life like that, but it's like film... like.
I think
fans.
I think they're going for a different sort of worship because, like, I think the worship they're trying to portray is very much a husband and wife worship, and I don't think it's meant to. I mean, there is that parallel. I can see what you're going for, but I think they're very much trying to portray the sense that his dad was like so in love with his mom that I don't think he knew what to do outside of just like serving her, like helping her do anything
he's
needed.
married to her, so he's got it.
Right.
And they say it a lot through the film. The Benny character says, "You're the one that married her. You're the one that married her." Like,
yeah, he does say that. You're right.
Like
Yeah.
5 or 6 times.
I'm gonna be honest.
But
I
I
don't
also
like Benny.
I did. He seemed.
He's a home wrecker.
He is, but I don't think it was ever like intentional. I think just like the dad bringing his best friend around, and the wife just had feelings that changed, and
It became intentional at the camping
at
trip.
yes, but I feel like with his character, he was a better emotional father than Paul Dano. Paul Dano had the technical father stuff of providing and being there, but Benny's character gave a lot of advice to the daughters, talked to them a lot, and then giving buying the camera for Sam at the end, close to the end. It really like he feels for this kid. He loves this kid more than just, oh, you're my best friend's son, or the girl I like's son. He means a lot more like in a family way because they call him uncle the whole time.
I disagree only because I don't think the kids ever seek his love out.
Oh, they don't, but he does. He feels like that for them.
Right,
but I don't think it's ever reciprocated.
It's like a forced love at that point. Like, oh, I'm like the uncle. And in the beginning, it's totally fine because the kids are all young and they're just laughing and, you have that fun uncle, right? But as they get older, they're not really seeking him out as a parental figure. They seem to more seek out their dad for that parental figure.
But
now,
he's not there for it.
Yeah, and again, I see what you're saying in the sense of, like, basically there's two dads, right? Like, in this whole film, in the sense of,
there's the emotional and there's the technical.
and if you put them together, it would work totally well together. Like, if they were one human being,
yeah.
it'd be perfectly fine.
And they dress very similar. They look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same job. They almost the entire film they work at the same place. They just move on to different jobs, the same place.
Well,
until the end.
Bert is Benny's boss. In the beginning.
Yes, but they work at the same companies for the first 2 companies that they work at up until they move to California.
Right.
But so like it really does show like these are the same people. If you put them together, it's like the perfect thing, but it's reality. No one's ever perfect.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we've done a lot of talking, and I feel like Kenny's just been over here. He's had a Google page pulled up for like a solid 10 minutes.
I have 4 Google pages and 2 set things.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, let's hear those tidbits.
Let 'em rip.
So I got a lot of things that you guys pointed out that I just kind of like searched on the fly.
Yeah.
So Monica Sherwood, Chloe East.
Oh, the actress that played the girl?
Yes.
Okay.
Played the girlfriend.
Played, Sam's girlfriend.
The crazy Jesus girlfriend.
Yeah. It's
It
hilarious.
is funny.
It's something you'll have to watch. We can't even explain how the funniness.
Yeah.
Describing it wouldn't be funny. In the moment, you're just so caught off guard.
Yeah.
Second writer, Tony Kushner.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tony Cook. Yeah, I think him and Spielberg work on something else together.
I don't recognize the name.
Okay,
But
maybe they
he-
just worked. I don't know. Done.
But
And then going to something you said way earlier, and to answer your question, yes, the movie that they saw when he was a kid is a real movie.
Oh, okay.
The Greatest Show on Earth basically was a actual biopic of the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Oh.
So it is a real movie.
Okay.
That was made in 1952.
Okay, cool.
Really
Cool.
Okay, now we're going to get to the stuff that I want to
Yeah,
point
okay.
out.
Okay, cool.
Put the phone away.
I'm going to give the weirdest one first.
Okay.
So when I was watching the movie, when they moved to Arizona, I recognized one of the mountains. I'll give you the name later because it was one of the roads that I saw. So I think it was, I don't know, they were going somewhere in their vehicle and I saw Camelback Road. I was like, I know where that's at. So name of the mountain was Camelback. Now, I did some research on this. He grew up in Phoenix. Now, I know almost exactly where he grew up in Phoenix, which is weird, I know, but I've been to Arizona enough to where I kind of know the valley out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's weird, but
It's a nice tie-in, though. Like, you feel a little bit more connected to the movie.
I feel like I'm actually more connected to the movie than when I went in with.
Mm-hmm.
Right, of course.
So,
yeah.
Okay, now
You have the same thing with the train.
Oh, I forgot about that. The train set he gets, my grandpa collected Lionel trains his entire life, and the train set that he gets in the very beginning of the film, I actually have that train set.
Mm-hmm.
That was passed down to me, but it was just very wholesome. And since we're the only 3 people in the theater, we were giving live commentary for a good chunk of it, especially in the beginning. But yeah, it was cool to see that, and it was a nice tie. And be like, oh, that's cool.
It gave you that little personal connection to Spielberg.
Exactly.
And then, so the couple of things that actually stood out to me the most is before we kind of find out that there's going to be a divorce, when they move to California, and you're kind of seeing like the movie that Sam has put together of the new house, looking at the new house, you see the dad, the sisters, and I think Sam as well. I think. You don't see the mother until it pans over and she's standing outside of the house.
I did not even catch that.
She was standing outside, and I was like, there's going to be a split. She doesn't feel like she's part of the family anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like there's a divide, and
as the audience, also does it's a good filmmaking
it's a
technique.
Exactly, it's a good way to kind of foreshadow something coming up as okay, there may be a split coming up, because it took the dad picking her up like they had just gotten married,
right,
to get her into the house, and even when she does, you can tell that there's still a split there, and she looks at the camera, who's I think we all know is being held by Sam.
Yeah.
And she gives that look of okay, you know why I'm looking at you like this. So I was like, that was one of the things that really stood out to me. And then at the end, I love the callback they did. So when Sam has the panic attack and the dad is in there and he's making tea, he goes over, he grabs the mail from the table by the door. He said, "You can go through the mail while I make the tea." Which is a callback to when he was Sam as a kid, running up to his mom and say, "Hey, is the mail here?" She's like, "Yeah, you can go through the mail." And look for the film of when he shot the
train crash.
Developed. I see
got-
what you're saying. Okay.
So I kind of like the callback they did there as
And it might have been subconscious to show that the husband and wife were more similar than you would expect.
Right, exactly. And actually, I think it showed more of the caringness of the father figure too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He actually is okay, I need to actually.
This is my last chance.
This is my last chance, or I'm gonna
be alone
blow
forever.
blow it forever. So I love the callback they did there. It was kind of subliminal, so you had to really figure it out. But I love the callback there. It was very well done, and I think it was terrific.
I agree. I didn't even think about it in the film when watching it, but
yeah, you definitely caught a lot more small details that we didn't. We kind of got the message of the movie, and you got the small details that amplify the message.
Yeah. Also, if you notice, this is my small detail that I noticed. The only time it rains is when they're in California, which is when everyone is sad. People use weather to dictate mood
Emotions
in films so much. There's a whole podcast on that, but yeah, the only time it ever rained, except for when the mom was kind of losing it in the very beginning, There's like a random tornado that shows up. I don't even think we talked about that. That was
No.
very strange.
I
just
actually forgot about it until right now.
Yeah, there's like a random tornado that shows up, and she like drives her kids towards the tornado, and it's just like
There's like shocking like transformers exploding through the telephone wires and
carts flying all over the place.
yeah.
It's
It was the first joke that we got out of the movie. They stop at an intersection and like 50 shopping carts just roll through the intersection.
Yeah. It's just a random scene. I'm sure it actually probably happened.
Oh yeah.
But that was the kind of, I think that storm was very much to show what was going on in the mom's head. And then
The turmoil.
as we transition to California later on in the film, it starts raining. All you see is rain in the windows. And it just very much indicates in this rental house that this marriage is like basically breaking down. There's nothing that anyone can really do now to probably repair it.
Well, I don't think it was really random. I think it was actually a good place to put it because up until that point, we don't even know that Benny exists until after the tornado. So
you're saying the beginning of the film?
Yeah, the beginning of the film. So after the tornado, Benny arrives. I mean,
so he's the tornado that's gonna home wreck.
So basically, like after the tornado is when everything just goes downhill.
Mm-hmm.
So
Was that?
Yeah.
I thought he was there before.
No, because it was
His first scene is that dinner with her mom or with the wife's mom and the husband's mom and the kids are all at the table when he's younger. And he's asking to be excused so he can go.
But I don't think that's before the tornado. Or I don't think that's after the tornado.
But that's Benny's first scene. I don't know if it is before or after, but it's Benny's first scene.
Yeah, it is.
And also, she knew Benny before because he's Paul Dano's best friend. So she might have had these feelings a little earlier.
Well, also, did you notice the mom, Paul Dano's mom's hostility towards him?
Towards her.
And everyone's like,
and
no,
towards
her, towards Benny. In the beginning, she's like, he's not your uncle.
Oh yeah. He's
Like,
just a guy.
He's just a guy. Like he's just your uncle, or he's just your dad's friend. Like she's very adamant to like not idolize this man, and that's a very easy foreshadow. Obviously, like mother's intuition, right? And so that sort of thing. But yeah, that's good stuff, Kenny. I didn't catch any of that, to be honest. So.
It really amplifies the ideas that we caught, and it makes it feel even more. It might actually bring my rating up to like an 8.
Yeah.
An 8, solid 8.
There you go. Got 2 8s and 8.5. Now look at that. It's a solid film.
Really solid film.
Yeah. I don't have anything else. Anyone have anything else?
No, I think we got everything out of our systems.
Cool.
I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time on Cup of Joe and Show podcast. I think. Honestly, I'm not even gonna say what we're gonna do next because I have no clue what we're doing next. So
it'll either be a topic or another review.
So just come back and we'll be here. We'll be doing something crazy. Who knows what it'll be, but something good.
We'll make sure we get through the intro one time.
There we go. They didn't even know about that, Kenny. You didn't have to bring that up.
Well, now they're going to know.
No, that's fair. No one's probably listening to this point anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, there you go. Well, hey, no, Jim's gonna know.
That's true. Jim, we miss you.
We do.
You'll probably be in one of the next couple episodes though, so
Hopefully.
don't get too sad.
Anyways, from all of us here at the Cup of Joe and Show podcast, this is us signing off, saying stay caffeinated. The words of the great Jim Master. See you next time.
See ya.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the episode today. If you did, you should go check out the rest of our episodes on our website at ccflugnutspodcast.com.
You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Follow us on our Facebook and Instagram pages by searching the Lugnuts Podcast Group.
Thanks for listening, and remember, Jesus loves you, and so do we.